take him for the rest of the series. The Doctor just never forgives Picard.
That's one dead Wesley. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Trek Epidemic podcast over here on the Movie Epidemic Patreon. Hope you're signing up and listening to the Star Trek episodes because these are the fun ones. Today on the show we have, as always, our good friend Dr. Jay Hardner. How are you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. How are you?
Cool. You hanging in there?
Always.
Absolutely.
Just by the fingertips.
Just hanging in for dear life. We also have a very special guest on this episode, my good friend, the Kreygasm guy. Kreyg, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. Wouldn't have it any other way. This week we're talking about, on November 9th, 1987, a little episode debuted called Justice. This is episode 8. And this is a short leave episode, y'all, kind of.
Kinda-ish.
This one takes place on, like, some sort of Caligula planet. Everybody's...
Yeah, they go to this planet, and everybody just loves to run and have sex.
Fucking and
basically.
sucking. This is the fucking and sucking episode.
And
Everybody's
they're all, like,
fucking.
fit and beautiful and
Good.
just down to have sex with literally anybody.
Good
Yeah,
morrow to
Rubicon
you.
3 was the planet name, and the people were called the Edo.
Yes, they were called the Edo. That is right. They say it a lot, and that's actually.
Yeah, they say, yeah.
But
But yeah, I remember they beam down to the planet, and like immediately, like these two people like run up to them, and like this dude is all up on Troy and Yar, and then this chick's all on Worf. She's like, "You look like you like to have fun," to Worf, and he's like, "Maybe."
that's the best too, because like immediately Worf is like, "This seems like a good planet for leave."
But then it's funny though, because a little later they're all standing around, like, you know, Riker walks in this room and there's just people making out there. There's like a group of people just showing each other that, like, I don't know what they were doing, but they had these balls in their hands and they just keep showing each other their balls. And they're like, "You want to play?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm good." And then he walks up to Worf, and Worf's just like, he's like, "This is a great planet, isn't it, Worf?"
Yeah.
And then Worf's all like, you know, "Oh, I would hurt these people because I'm a Klingon warrior." You know, it's like, sex is violent for us.
It's extremely violent. He's on the communicator and he's like, "Captain, there's a lot of sucking and fucking going on here."
Sensors indicate a lot of sucking and fucking. Permission to come aboard.
The phaser is set to coming.
Oh, there's also a part where a dude was just getting super oiled up.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
There's like
just
this chick that's
like a
oiling
shot
up.
of
and
him
one dude
getting
just,
oiled
like,
up for like,
laying on his stomach, getting oiled up.
oil me up, Scotty. I did bring that up to say that joke, and I don't feel bad about it.
But I do think it was funny though, because when they first beamed down, like that woman was all over Worf and Riker, and then she looks at Wesley, and she's like, "Well, I don't know what the customs are for the younglings or whatever," and he's like, I guess it's the same, you know.
He's like, I don't really know about that kind of stuff, but I'm willing to try the sucking and fucking.
I'm willing to try to learn. And then she like gives him a hug, and he probably got a boner, and it was just like, standing there like, "Oh no, what do I
Wheaton in
do?"
real life probably got a boner too.
Yeah, they firmly established that Wesley's a virgin in this episode, and he is super awkward with everybody.
I heard
I mean, he's only 13, I think, at the time. So.
Oh, what? He's
Yeah,
supposed to be 13?
I think he's like 13 or 14. He's really young. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense then. He looks like he's like he later on he's running around with a dude that looks like he's parody age-ish, sort of, who's just got full body hair. So
Yeah.
I
They just hired some guy in his early 20s to act like he was like a teenager.
I can't confirm this, but I have heard that Will Wheaton is still, in fact, a virgin, even though he's got a bunch of kids, I think.
Poor Will Wheaton.
Yeah.
But yeah, the funny thing was like, and then after they beam down, they're like, "Well, we run everywhere." And he's like, "You guys like to run? Come on, you guys want to run?" And he looks at everyone like he's in better shape than everybody else on the bridge crew that beamed down with them. He's like, "We can run. Come on, let's run, everybody." And he gets all excited about it. He wanted to impress that one woman with like the blonde curly hair. He's like, "I'm going to score today."
I'm going to score, man. One thing I know about planets that are cool is if you have the death penalty, that's badass.
Yeah, that's all it takes for you?
Yeah, there was at one point where the Edos start talking to Worf and Tasha Yar about how they just like, "Oh yeah, if people like break our laws, we just kill them." You know, that's how we've maintained paradise here.
Yeah, it's
And they're
beautiful
like,
paradise.
wait, what? And they're like, yeah, just don't cross one of those white fences or anything, and you'll be okay. And they're like, oh shit, nobody told Wesley. And then it cuts to Wesley. They're like, this one dude's like, hey, look, I can do a handstand. And Wesley's like, look at me, and he starts doing cartwheels. This is nowhere near as impressive as the guy who walked and did a handstand and walked on his hands. Wesley was just trying to show off for that girl that they were with.
Yeah.
And they still needed a stunt double for that scene because they pulled the camera way back.
Yeah, they probably used a stunt double. I wouldn't doubt it.
Oh man.
That's how you know on Star Trek that they're using stunt doubles, is when the camera gets pulled way back.
'Cause
They
Yeah.
established that in the original series. Like every fight scene, it's like the camera would be like on the ceiling or something, like 30 feet away from the action.
there's no reason for the camera to be that far away. It looks like shit. So like,
And then even then, you can still tell it was stunt doubles.
Yeah. Another weird thing about their law thing, though, the laws, like the death penalty for any crime in a specific random area selected secretly every day. So if you commit any crime in a specific pre-chosen random location, you'll die. That's the rules.
They had like white fences and stuff.
I don't think the white fences were like to designate that as like a no crime zone. I think that was just like he broke the law by going over the white fence.
Well, yeah, you're not supposed to go into that zone, and that's a punishable offense because they were playing catch, and then the guy throws the ball, and Wesley is like, oh, I got it, and just like total disregard. Like, honestly though, if you rewatch the episode, like Wesley should never have he just hopped over the fence for no reason. Like he's like, oh no, it's okay, I got it, and goes to catch the ball, and then he dives into the plants that are like covered up as well. Like they're neatly covered and everything. Like it's not like this was like they were just out in the open. Like you
absolutely
could see it was like
no reason for him to smash into the greenhouse.
No reason for him to do that. So if anything, Wesley Crusher is a dick. Like he totally broke the law. He fucked with the Ito's plants, and he should have gotten the death penalty.
Yeah. And now this one has gotten some scrutiny online because people claim that this is one where Picard clearly breaks the Prime Directive.
Yeah, he definitely does. He does. But the thing is, it's like, I think we're also leaving out that Ito had that god.
Yes,
that
right,
was that ship or whatever. That it's really funny because they actually recycle that same space station ship or whatever in a later episode. I was watching. I was like, oh, I remember that. They reused that prop.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. So when the crew and the ship are up, they find like a half invisible thing, and it's like, these are my children. I am the god here.
Yeah, he's like, you will leave. Take your people and leave. And like he's all pissed off and like shaking the ship and stuff every time he talked.
Hell yeah, we love that. We love that around here.
That was definitely some like recycled kind of content from the original series. Like that deep voice that like shook the ship and stuff.
Yeah, we've seen that before. I do like when they try and inject Wesley with the poison syringe or whatever.
Yeah, they just like well, time to die, Wesley. And then like they start like to just pull out their phasers like, no, you're not doing that.
Super
and then
casual.
Wesley's like,
about it.
they were gonna kill me? He was like so shocked.
Just absolutely.
That's a really good impression of his voice.
Oh, thank you.
Just the most casual execution of all time, where they just get it out, they flick the top of it. They're like, all right, guess we're going to kill this kid really quick.
Yeah, there was
they're like, he didn't know, and they're like, it's always sad, but this is more sad. But they're just going to go give him a poke.
Yeah, they're like, it would have been quick. He wouldn't have felt the thing. That's okay.
Now he's scared because of you guys. You made this execution way worse. Way to bring down the mood.
Well, if anything, Worf and Tasha kind of made the execution worse because like then he knew, then he knew he was gonna die. If they just like poked him with a needle and killed him, it would have been okay.
Also, most of this is Tasha's fault because she was supposed to do the research on the laws and stuff, and she's like, yeah, they just got pretty regular laws, and then she mentions later they didn't mention the punishment, and it just turns out to be death for all of them.
Yeah, they don't mention anything about like the punishment. She's like, well, they didn't mention anything, so yeah, my bad.
I don't know.
I'm sure it's just all normal. Like I can't even think about the idea that aliens would have different punishments.
I don't know. They just said don't destroy any property. Pretty regular laws.
And then it's like, oh well, yeah, we kill people. You break the law, you die. You steal a loaf of bread, you die.
It is kind of a funny juxtaposition to see like the toga people just being like ready to kill.
Yeah, the happy-go-lucky running sex people are like, oh, you broke the law, you're gonna die. Like you wouldn't expect that, but that's what helped. They said that's what's kept their society so perfect for so long.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the God thing for a minute, because that's like one of those things where I feel like they just kind of gloss over that there's just a God here that's like in charge of the planet.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's there, and it has like importance like maybe 3 times in the whole episode.
Yeah, because they're like talking about, they're like, well, we don't have the death penalty, and it's like, I don't care.
Yeah, basically. And then he takes over. At one point, he takes over. He like knocks Data out to like exchange information with him. And then Data wakes up, and then he starts rambling or babbling, as Picard said.
Yes, babbling.
And then it was so good because then they're gonna, like, Dr. Crusher's there, and like they're gonna kill Wesley. And she's getting all emotional, and Data's like, the emotions of a mother, and she's like, shut up, and then, like, runs off. And then Data looks at Picard, and he's like, you're right, sir, I do babble. It was so good. It was just because like Data has that self-awareness, then oh yeah, maybe I do babble, I just pissed off Dr. Crusher.
So
But yeah, and then they beam that one chick up to the ship. And then the God thing just like, yo, I'm going to crash my ship into your ship. You don't beam that bitch back down to the planet, you know?
Give me back my child, or I'm crushing your ship with my ship. A classic murder suit.
Those are like the only things that happen with that whole God thing. Like, and then maybe at the end.
Basically. And then they like try and they convince just like the people not to kill Wesley, right?
I mean, the people can't really do anything to stop them. They've all got phasers. The people really want to kill Wesley. They're like, please don't do this to us. Don't fuck up our justice system by saving one person.
Yeah, they were deeply upset. Like that one dude, like from the beginning of the episode, he looked like he was gonna cry because he's like, "What about our laws? What about justice, huh?" And then they're like, "What about justice for the boy?" And I love how they always call Wesley the boy. They don't call him Wesley; they call him the boy in so many episodes.
Yeah, that's the kind of disrespect I love.
And then, like, yeah, Wesley's like, "Sir," and he's like, "I think I have a say in this." You know, and then Picard just like gave him the stink eye, basically. But then they're like, "Oh, we're taking Wesley home, and we're gonna transport up." And then their God like blocks them from transporting up back to the ship, and they're like, "Ha! God has prevented your escape!" Ha ha ha! And then they just Picard goes into this whole speech about like justice, and you know there can be no justice when laws are absolute. And then Riker says, "When has justice ever been as easy as a rule book?" And then boom, they're like, "Oh, we can beam back up to the ship again." Like.
They just speech 100 their way out of the situation.
Yeah, exactly, basically.
One of Riker's little quips.
But I like how Picard's like, "I think that God would agree with you, Riker." But it's like, I don't think it was Riker they were agreeing with. I think it was more Picard. Like, Picard sold himself short on that one.
I don't think anybody should agree with Riker ever until he has a beard.
Especially not season 1 Riker.
Pre-beard Riker, get away from me.
Well, he was more fun. Without the beard.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. That's true. All right. I don't know about this one.
Oh, yeah. And then at the end of the episode, everyone comes back on the bridge, and then Picard's like to the God, he's like, "Oh, we'll remove those people from that solar system. Just give us some sort of sign." And then the thing just fades away. And he's like, "Huh, was that the sign that we needed or what?" And they're like, "I don't know." Like, no one knew anything about like if that was the actual sign that they wanted to like remove the planet. So it's like, did they remove the people from that planet or nah? You know, it's like that never got answered.
A classic Star Trek non-ending.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what are we rating this one there, Jordan?
I think this is probably I don't know, maybe a 3. It's got a lot of like funny, wacky stuff happening down on the planet, and then you've got like, I don't know, it made me think a little bit, like, which seemed like what they were trying to do. Like, if you can essentially preserve a utopia, but the penalty is that if you do anything wrong, everybody dies. Like, at that point, is it worth it? So yeah, I'd say it's a solid 3. Made me think. Had some wacky stuff happen.
3 phasers, nice. What do you got there, Kreyg?
I'd give this one a 2.5.
2.5.
I feel like I think you're right. It's like it makes you think a little bit about like the whole concept. Well, if they don't have these laws and everything, what will happen? But I feel like everything got summed up before they transported back up to the ship when Picard's like, there is no justice when laws are absolute. It's like, oh, boom, you could have just saved us 60 minutes right there by just saying that and then ending.
Yeah, this one, it's funny, but to me, this is like a non-episode. Nothing happens, and it really, it doesn't get really resolved very good. It's just like, oh, the god's gone. Maybe we're just gonna leave this planet and not fuck with it anymore. So I don't know. I think like 2 starships on this one.
Yeah, and this one just totally shits all over the Prime Directive.
Absolutely.
Because aren't they not supposed to reveal themselves to non-warp capable species?
Yeah.
And like, aren't these people just? They don't seem like they have warp drive yet. So.
And they're not supposed to they're not supposed to just like stop laws from happening.
Yeah, exactly.
They just wanted to bone, okay? Let's get real. That's why this whole situation happened.
Yeah, forget about going to Risa for vacation. It's all about Rubicon 3 now. Well, until they messed everything up.
Absolutely. Worf was trying to fuck, and everything got fucked up. All right. We'll see you guys next week for another episode. That's going to be The Battle, Episode 9.